Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a heads up. There has been another bank closure this weekend. Today is Sunday. I normally don't put out videos on a Sunday, but I wanted to give you guys an update here. So, Signature Bank has also been closed. This is the second bank that is closed within 48 hours. So, I wanted you guys to be aware of what is going on here. So, it says that the Fed has decided to take care of these depositors so that they all have access to their money on by Monday, March 13th. This is in regards to the Silicon Valley Bank shutdown that failed on Friday. They have decided to also make whole, it says, these depositors at Signature Bank, which they just disclosed today has also been shut down by New York bank regulators. We know that this Signature marks the third bank failure within a week. We know about Silvergate, that was another California based bank that made loans to cryptocurrency companies. They had issues last week and closed down. And now we've got this sort of, trending domino effect. So this is something that we really need to be aware of. We need to understand that this is kind of a precarious position. I'm in no way encouraging you guys to rush out and start clearing out all of your money. But I did want you guys to be aware of this. I think this is something to keep an eye on. This is why we always say, have some cash on hand. Make sure that you have, other assets available to you. It's why, we all are stockpiling what we can as far as items that we know that we're going to need, that we're going to use, especially our food, and, all the clothing items, hygiene items, any kind of products, tools, things that we know that we're going to need within the next year, making sure that we have those things on hand, medications. Guys, I would just really focus on shoring up what you have. I'm not telling you to go out and wipe out your accounts, because I think that, if all of us rush out and sort of panic and begin pulling everything that we have, then, what we fear that is coming upon us will definitely come upon us at that point, right? Because that's exactly the kind of situation that we would see unfold. But I do want to make sure that, you are not leaving yourself in a precarious position to where you don't have anything on hand. So I think it's really important that we definitely have some cash on hand, that we have other assets. If you guys haven't invested in anything like precious metals, this is a time to consider having some of that. I'm not saying that you have to go through anything that I mentioned in the past. If you have a local dealer where you can begin to pick up some of this stuff and try to, move some of this over into assets that are going to cover you, create a hedge of protection around about yourself, I think that's important. I think everybody should be prayerfully considering what to do at this point. Don't make any rash or hasty decisions, but I would definitely be consulting the Lord about your situation and what He would have you do. And if you see these things begin to escalate and we start seeing even larger financial institutions, at that point, I would encourage you to really, do what you've got to do to protect your family. So I wanted to go ahead and touch on the fact that they're saying that what the FDIC has done here as far as a new program that they mentioned. They say that, this should not be considered a bailout, noting that the company's shareholders and those who own its debt would be wiped out. They're talking in here about how the government's plan to avert a catastrophe advantage of this exception that allows the FDIC, which is usually supposed to clean up a failed bank in the cheapest way possible, to risk incurring additional costs if there is a risk to the financial system involved. So they're saying that this deposit insurance fund is going to be tapped into to make sure that they can pay their depositors back in full. That fund comes from fees paid by the banking industry, which the Treasury officials have emphasized. They say any losses to the deposit insurance fund to support uninsured depositors is going to be recovered by this special assessment on banks as required by law. And then they set up this new lending program. There should be a link in this article for you guys that will take you to that program as well, if you want to scroll through here and check that out. This new lending program is going to be backed by $25 billion in cash from a pot of money at the Treasury. They offer, the facility will offer up to 1-year loans to banks, savings associations, credit unions and other eligible depository institutions in exchange for collateral, including U.S. Treasuries, agency debt, and mortgage-backed securities. So they're saying this is going to provide a workaround to these financial institutions who have seen the market value of their long-term asset holdings fall as these interest rates have risen. So, because the Fed has continued to raise these rates, that's why we're seeing some of this begin to get pinched, and a lot of these banks are getting stuck in this between a rock and a hard place, and so they're trying to make this avenue for them to kind of, and the way I look at it, guys, I am not a financial expert. I'm not even going to try to explain all of this because I don't understand all of it myself. But to me, by them offering this workaround, by them offering these 1-year loans to these banks, to me, it sounds like them essentially kicking the can down the road again, or attempting to kick the can down the road again, if you know what I mean, and, try to stave off some of this panic. But at the same time, I look at this and I say it's backed by $25 billion in cash, when we know for a fact that these other banking institutions that have already gone under went under a lot more than any $25 billion. So, if we have larger institutions that begin to falter, is this even going to be enough? Or are they going to then, try to access other pots of money that they're going to pull out of thin air? And that's the question that I have for all of this. Is this just the beginning? I feel like this is just a bum rushed emergency effort to stave off the inevitable. I think they know what is transpiring here. I think they understand that we have a much larger crisis unfolding before us. I think that the chickens are coming home to roost, and I think that is what we are witnessing. Like I said before, we've seen these cracks, these fissures in this credit system that we have, this debtor system, and it's beginning to rock and roll, guys. And I think that things are not looking good. They're not trending in a upward direction, and so we need to be aware of this. We need to be paying attention to these signs. So I just wanted to go ahead and touch on this stuff. I would love to hear what you guys have to say down below. They say that, they're trying to, the federal agencies painted their moves as necessary responses aimed at averting a broader meltdown. So this is what they're trying to do. They're concerned that this situation is stabilized so that they don't see more of this going on with these other banks. But they say rationally, this should be enough to stop any contagion from spreading and taking down more banks, which can happen in the blink of an eye in the digital age. But contagion has always been more about irrational fear. So we would stress that there is no guarantee this will work. So it's something that we're going to have to be paying attention to this, heavily paying attention to this, keeping our pulse on this problem, watching, praying, doing everything that we can to making sure that we are shored up and we're ready for what may come. I do think that this, could turn into something that, they're going to try to do everything they can to stave off the inevitable, right? They're going to try to do what they can to quell panic and to stop this from getting worse. But there's no guarantees, like they said, that this is actually going to work. So I just wanted to share this with you really quick. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.